Welcome to our online class. Today we are on day 7 of Zoroastrianism. Alright, go ahead and read the narrative, the information that is given right into this description of this YouTube page. Look down and you can read from there all the paragraphs, or you can always open the Google Classroom and look at the class materials, and you will also find the ebook there. So once you have read, now let's take a look at few questions from this reading. Question number 1, based on the very first short paragraph. Define fatalistic. What is fatalistic? Now, we will actually talk more about this concept, fatalistic, when we study Islam. But if you go to Google and simply type define fatalistic, and you will find it simply means the belief that God has already predestined, meaning He has already set His mind who is going to be saved and who is going to be lost. No matter what we do in between, it doesn't change God's mind. If God decides that Merle will go to hell, Merle goes to hell. No matter how much Merle tries to do good things, it's not going to change God's mind. So that is called predestination. God has predestined in His mind. He has already made up His mind who is going to be saved, who is not going to be saved. That's called fatalistic. In Zoroastrianism, it's a religion that does not believe that people have been predestined. They do not believe that if God or Ahura Mazda decides that Merle should go to hell, Merle is going to go to hell. No, Merle has free will. He can choose to do good and be saved at the end of time. Moving on to our next question. Number 2, what is original sin? Now this is again based on the second paragraph, which is quite long. Now again, this concept, original sin, we will learn more about what is original sin in our Christianity lesson. Now, what is original sin? Original sin, just to give you in brief, is that Christians, we believe that we have fallen into sin, and this sin is in us. It's born in us. Even when I'm born as a brand new baby, I already have the potential, the nature to do sin, because it is being passed on to me from Adam all the way to me today. It's like a virus, a sin virus that has been into our DNA right now, that no matter how hard you try to be good, you will always mess up, because we are prone to do these things. It's in our nature. Even though a baby is born, we think that they're pure, they're sinless. According to Christianity, according to the Bible, no, they are not sinless. Yes, they are good, but it still has the propensity to do sin. It is born with that nature. Now let's move on to our next question. List few points how Zoroastrianism is different from Christianity and Hinduism. So you have to compare Zoroastrianism with Christianity and Zoroastrianism with Hinduism. And how are they different? Not similarities, but differences. If you read over there, you will find, yes, Christianity talks about original sin, that we are born with this impurity, this sin in us, the nature to do evil things. It's built into us. No matter how pure we try to live, we cannot. It's going to pop up anytime. Zoroastrians don't believe that. They believe that every child is born pure. There is no evil, no sin in them. So that is one of the differences between Christianity and Zoroastrianism. They also believe that it is by work that you can save yourself. In Christianity, yes, my work is important, but more important is my faith. But again, faith without work, meaning if I just say, oh, I love Jesus, but then I go around doing evil things, that doesn't save me. If I say I love Jesus, but I must also show to the world that I am a changed person because God's Spirit lives in me, and therefore I have the fruit of the Spirit to do all the good things. I should show all the good characters. So deed is also important, but faith is even more important in Christianity. But in Zoroastrianism, it is more on your action. Now, how is it different, Zoroastrianism different from Hinduism? In Hinduism, you have reincarnation. And this is where Zoroastrianism totally differs. They do not believe in reincarnation. No, there is no transmigration of the soul. You get one life to live, and that's it. Make the best out of this one life and follow Ahura Mazda to be saved and be in heaven. Question number 4 now, based on the third paragraph. And the question says, explain how do Zoroastrian worldview explain pain, suffering, evil in our world today? How did evil come into our world if there is a good God called Ahura Mazda? Well, the simple explanation would be free will. Free will and the fact that there is Angra Mainyu, the lie, the evil. And because humans have the free will to choose, and if I choose Angra Mainyu and I do all the evil things, you cannot blame God for that because God gave us the free will. Without the free will, there is no point of living. If we are all robots, there is no choice, then there is no point of living. This is why everyone fights for their freedom. Look at every country shouting for their freedom. They have the rights to voice out. They have the rights for this and that. We are built that way to have that freedom to choose. And if someone chooses to do evil by following Angra Mainyu, you cannot blame it on Ahura Mazda. So Angra Mainyu is the one who brings pain, suffering, and evil in our world today. And a lot of us tend to join him, join Angra Mainyu, instead of joining Ahura Mazda. Question number 5 and 6 is based on the fourth paragraph that we have, afterlife and final judgment. Let me read the question. How is the hell concept in Zoroastrianism different from Christianity? As you have learned in your past lesson, the main difference is in Zoroastrianism, people are thrown into hell, but it is not permanent, it is not forever. Evil people, even the most heinous criminal that you know in history, the most heinous criminal who killed millions of people, will go to hell, will pay the price, and then will return and go to heaven and live with Ahura Mazda. So that's the difference between Christian concept of hell, where God will destroy evil and evil people once and for all. They will not be given a chance anymore. They had enough chances while they were alive to repent, to change from their old ways, but they refused while they were alive on earth. They kept doing evil, and so times is up. And once time is up, they're sent to hell and no more coming back. But in Zoroastrianism, there is a coming back from hell. Next question. What is the function of Satan in Zoroastrianism? So in Zoroastrianism, you have the concept of Satan or Angra Mainyu. His job, his function, is to be so-called the ruler of hell. A very similar concept with Hinduism, where you have Shiva, the lord of the underworld. Angra Mainyu, who represents hell, and he is so-called the undertaker. He is the lie, and when we are dropped into hell, we actually join Angra Mainyu. Again, this concept is very different from Christianity, where Satan is not the ruler of hell. In fact, there is no hell right now. We will learn more about this in our Christianity lesson. All right, our last question is based on the last paragraph. How do you prove that Zoroastrianism did not influence Hebrew people to learn about monotheism, but rather it was the other way around? It wasn't the Zoroastrians who taught the Jews about one God, but probably it was the other way around, that the Jews are the ones who came and influenced the people of Persia to know more about one God. And from there, when the Jews left, there was this man called Zarathustra who wanted to revive this idea of one God. And so he was, I would say, a person who revived the concept of one God in Persia, but he wasn't the founder of this one God. And how do we prove that? Well, it's simple. One God, monotheism, started from Abraham, and that goes thousands of years way before Zarathustra. And we know how this one God finally concept came into the Israelites, who were the descendants of Abraham. And then finally they were free from Egypt and they went to Palestine, they went to Israel, and they created a nation called the country or the nation of Israel, Judah. And so we already have a group of people who were believing in this one God concept. But then later on in the world history, we see that King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon came down and attacked these Hebrew people, this nation of Israel, and took these people from Israel all the way to Babylon. And later on, we see after Babylon fell, then came the Medo-Persia. And then later on, we see Cyrus coming up. And so you find all this history actually in the Bible. I have a YouTube video that I also put in the link here for you to watch. It's a long video. If you have time, you can watch. You can know how the Iranians came to know about this concept of one God. It was actually the Israelites, the Hebrews, the Jews who brought this idea of monotheism to Persia. And from there, the Persians learned about it. They also started to worship this one God. Later on, when Cyrus told the Israelites that they could go back to their home, way after maybe 100 years later, came Zarathustra, who realized this one God concept and decided to revive this idea. All right, if you are done, you can now turn in your work. Make sure that all your answers are in red color font so it's easy for me to check. Have a nice day, and I'll see you on our next video.